The King's Mistress. Oh my gosh, this new Time Princess story is about cheating. I am actually so interested in this because I was cheated on, and I'm sure a lot of people has experienced cheating before, and it's one of the worst feelings in the world. For me, I was with this guy, then we were on break, then he started talking to another girl, and then we got back together, but he did not end what he was doing with the other girl, and I was shattered. But even after all that happened, I hope he's happy wherever he is now. We might not be together anymore, but I'll always remember that there was that one point in time where we were the most important person in each other's lives, and I will never forget that until I get Alzheimer's because it runs in the. Never mind. Let's just hop into the story. So, the King's Mistress, and okay, so I am on stage 4 right now, but I want to start in the beginning because the story is pretty good. There are many witnesses to Marie's breakfast with the king. Feeling uneasy, she tries to make a conversation with the king, but is mocked by the people for not knowing proper etiquette. Unable to stand it any longer, Marie snaps back. After breakfast, she takes a let's just start up the story. Alrighty, so going into a new storybook. It's been 4 years since I've arrived at the Palace of Versailles. The weather has been dismal. The rain over the past few days just stopped this morning. I sit by the window with a quill in my hand. I've been writing in my diary while listening to the birds chirping. A month ago, Louis X is 10, V is 5. Louis the 16th ascended the throne, and thus I became the queen. I'm still not accustomed to my new status. My actions now represent the Queen of France, and not just myself. I'm surrounded by many people every day, and I cannot afford to make any wrong moves. I sigh as I close my diary. It's time for breakfast, Your Majesty. All right, help me get changed, okay? It's dress up time. Yeah, dude, what she says is so relatable. I feel like for me as a YouTuber too, I feel like sometimes people are always watching me, and when I make a wrong move, then it gets blown up, and that's not fun times. That certainly has happened to me before, and sorry, I'm just human and I make mistakes. Okay, so that's done. Unbelievable. I thought things would get easier when I'm queen. I never expected royal life to be that of a circus monkey. There are so many people watching me all day. To preserve royal dignity, I have to dress formally even for a simple breakfast. That is so rough. The sound of conversations reached me before I entered the banquet hall. I tried to perk up before entering. Louis sits up at the long table. Sunbeams shines through the French windows, lighting up his gentle brown eyes. He is silent and thoughtful, and stark contrast to the rest of the diners who are busy chatting away. The queen is here. Louis looks up and a servant pulls out a chair for me. I know I'm late for breakfast, so I hurry over to sit beside him. I apologize for my tardiness, Your Majesty. It's all right. I arrived just a short while before you. Let's eat. A servant approached to lay out the napkins for us. Breakfast at Versailles is sumptuous, but the rules are numerous. Dressed in a cumbersome dress, I try to look dignified by keeping my back straight. The servants serve up exquisite cuisines, and I turn to see Louis fully focused on enjoying his food. The diners continue chatting nonstop. It feels awkward to be the only ones not talking. Why won't they stop looking at me? Especially that woman in the corner smirking on one another. They must be mocking me because my husband won't even talk to me. If only Louis would help me get rid of this awkward atmosphere. I clear my throat, pretending to make a casual conversation. The weather's great today, Your Majesty. Would you like to accompany on a stroll in the garden after breakfast? I'm sorry, Marie. I have to attend a state conference after this, so I may not be able to keep you company. The two women behind me start whispering. Doesn't the queen take note of His Majesty's schedule? Probably not. The king just refused her straight away. I'm embarrassed. I hadn't considered the possibility that he'd be busy with something. Afraid that he might get upset, I hastily pushed my bowl of soup towards him. I forget you have state affairs to handle. The broth is great. You should try it. Louis looked at me, surprised. A sudden silence descends upon the crowd. What is it? Oh, look, she passed a half-eaten bowl of soup to His Majesty. How rude! It dawns upon me that I've behaved inappropriately. My cheeks redden. Louis gave me a gentle smile. He gestures for a servant to get me another bowl of broth. Since you like it here, have more. That's not what I mean. I just wanted to share some tasty food with you like an ordinary couple. The broth is indeed delicious. Thank you for your recommendation. Don't you have anything else to say? Which dishes do you like best? Louis looks confused. I swallowed everything I wanted to say. Once again, Louis just doesn't respond to my attempts to get closer to him. There's not the slightest bit of French romance in him. He always treats me gently, but why won't he let me into his heart? Your Majesty, please be careful. It's hot. The servant has returned with a new bowl of soup. Lost the dot. I reached for the bowl without taking heed of her warning. Ow! The bowl is hotter than I expected. I dropped it and it shatters on the floor. Louis hurries over me. He takes my hand to look at my palm. My hand looks exceptionally small in his. An angry red mark has appeared on my skin. That must hurt. I'll call a doctor. I'm fine. It only hurts a little. Go get the queen some ice and clear away this mess. There's a fuss in the banquet hall. Some servants start clearing away and the shards and the spilled soup, and someone else starts icing my hand. I can clearly hear mocking laughter amidst the chaos. Truly an Austrian woman, clumsy and rude. I look at the direction of the laughter to see a haughty noblewoman speaking. How unfortunate it is for His Majesty to marry a woman like that. I prop my hand on my chin as I gaze at the gossiping woman. The women of France do love to gossip. I wonder why. Is it because they have a huge extra tongue? You stop arguing. It's almost time for the state conference and we need to finish the meal. The noble women look mortified, but they finally back off. I feel utterly discouraged despite the reduced tension in the atmosphere. When people ridicule his wife, Louis only gives them a mild rebuke. I'm surrounded by brazen judgments, whispered gossips, and Louis's indifference. It all feels so suffocating, just like the tight corset I'm wearing. I actually thought he'd stand up for me. How foolish of me. I remained silent for the rest of the meal. The food seems tasteless now. When Louis finally puts down his fork and knife, I am relieved. I force myself to give him a polite smile and watch as the servants escort him from the hall. When will our relationship finally improve? I hope that one day he'll be willing to spare me some of his attention. Aww, that's actually so sad. The roses in the garden are alluringly beautiful. The light breeze carries their lovely fragrance through the air. It's a pity I'm enjoying such a wonderful scene by myself. I sit on the bench with fountain, mesmerized by the roses. The sound of footsteps awakened me from a daze. It was so awkward back at the banquet hall. Are the king and queen like that in private as well? They don't behave like a couple at all. I'd be upset if my husband were so aloof with me. His Majesty is so unromantic. Who says His Majesty is unromantic? He's probably just not interested in the queen. You mean the king is courting another woman? Oh, believe me, our king is as amorous as his grandfather. Their voices grow softer and I strain to hear what they're saying. What do they mean? Dun dun dun! Hello? Is he courting another woman? Dude, I'd be so pissed. Let's check out stage 2. Marie hears about Louis's mistress and is plagued with a feeling of frustration and anger. Oh no! He is cheating! Okay, let's hop into the story. Oh man, this is getting juicy. The old king loved women. You could always find a beautiful woman in Versailles when he was alive. You haven't forgot about Madame du Barry, have you? She was driven away from courts not long ago. Does the king have a mistress as well? My mind goes blank in shock. Holy moly! Heavens, why must I hear something like this? My husband ignores me and he's keeping a mistress? The two noblewomen continues gossiping about the king. What's so shocking about that? It's normal for the royals house to have affairs. His Majesty neglects the queen all the time. It's probably because he has a mistress, and the queen looks so dispassionate. It would be easy for another woman to tempt the king. Does the queen know? I'm not sure about that, but I'm certain the marriage is loveless. You're just guessing. There will be trouble if the queen hears of this. No, I saw something with my own eyes. His Majesty went to a house on the Rue du blah 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 blah, and a golden-haired beauty answered the door. They talked and laughed as they entered the house like a pair of lovers. In contrast, he's always so cold towards the queen. My heart sinks as I imagine a scene with the king with the golden-haired beauty. I always thought Louis wasn't the type to fool around. Now, I know he can be gentle and charming towards women. What does he think he's doing to me and my reputation? I'm so angry. I feel like confronting him right away, but then I realize I don't have the right to question him. Our marriage was simply a political arrangement between Austria and France, and maybe he's in love with that woman. My thoughts are a mess. I turn and leave the garden quickly. Oh no, there are people walking about Versailles every day, but somehow I'm the only person on the garden path today. I walk quickly and my heels go click-clack on the beautifully tiled path. The sound annoys me and I can't help thinking about the conversation I heard. Louis might not treat me lovingly, but he's always been a gentleman and he has no need to act so dishonorably. Perhaps that noble woman was merely lying. If Louis were to have a golden-haired lover, she would be staying in the palace by now. Why would she be staying outside the palace? And on a narrow street too. I started looking for excuses to try to defend Louis, but I end up feeling worse instead. Frustrated, I stopped walking and looked up to the heavens, but I can only see the elaborated carved roof and the sky is hidden from view. Oh, Lord in heaven, why must I go through this? Oh no. Madame de Now enters the room with her head held up high. She looks just as prim and proper as usual. I'm already in a bad mood, so the sight of Madame Danielle's stern face gives me a headache. It's still early afternoon, Madame de Now. It's not time for those boring church lessons yet, am I right? Please, leave me alone. I wish to rest for a while. Madame Danielle folds her hands to reveal a letter. Her curtsies are always perfect. Her back is completely straight and only her knees bend. The sight always feels strange to me, and I keep wondering if she'll lose her balance one day. But she does not fall into my plate of pastries like I imagined. Instead, she presents to me yet another thing I dislike. This time, it's a letter from Austria, which she placed next to my pastries. I think you can spare some time to take a look at this letter from Austria, Your Majesty. I pick up the letter. It has an Austrian seal on it. I think you must have picked this timing on purpose to vex me, Madame. Madame Danielle's expression does not change. She curtsies calmly and turns to leave. At the door, she suddenly turns around. I heard that you did something inappropriate again at breakfast this morning, Your Majesty. To prevent more gossip, you need to spend more time studying French dining etiquette this afternoon. Studying French dining etiquette? She said it so lightly. It's going to be yet another incredibly boring lesson. Madame Danielle finally leaves and I am alone in the room. I can relax now and stop keeping my back ramrod straight. I kick off my shoes and hug my legs. The letter is still in my hands, but I don't feel like reading it. I've been in France for 4 years now, and all the letters from Austria have been very similar to one another. I bury my face against my knees. There's a strong smell of ink from the letter in my hand. Has a mother written a lot this time? Why hasn't the smell dissipated by now? I really hope it's not the same kind of content again. Okay, let's read the letter. Dear Marie, how have you been? It pains me to hear about Louis XV, but I'm also worried about the nasty rumors regarding you that are spreading in Austria. Please remember that everything you do represents the country. I know that it must be hard for you to get used to life over there, but I hope that you will do your best to learn how to be a good queen. Also, Plan your time wisely and try to spend more time with Louis, capture his heart, and fulfill your responsibility as queen. Remember that whatever you do represents Austria as well as France. Love, your mother. Oh, Jesus. I'm sorry, mother. I'm afraid I've disappointed you. Your daughter is incapable of charming the King of France. I folded the letter and set it aside. That noble woman was right. The royals have been having affairs for the past century. Even if I don't like it, I can't do anything about it, can I? I curl up on the couch. The sunlight shines through the window and falls to me, but I can't feel any warmth at all. It's icy cold throughout the ground and opulent palace. Aww. He's cheating on me. Okay, that's all for today. If you want to find out what happens, Gabriel noticed that Marie is depressed and suggests investigating to find out if the king really has a mistress. Marie asks the servants and find out that the king always leaves the palace. Then, okay. What do I think will happen? I don't know. Whenever I hear rumors like this, I believe it, but with a grain of salt. I think I would talk to my husband first to see his side of the story. Check this out. At stage 4, it looks like I'm gonna go snooping. So we are going to see. Alright, everyone, that's all for me. Thank you so much for watching. This game is called Time Princess. If you want to check it out, link is in the description below. I will see y'all next time. Subscribe or I'll delete your Time Princess account. Peace, peace.